My next guests are the hosts of the hit podcast How to Gael, which they describe as a bilingual, bottomless brunch and a gateway drug to the Irish language. We are delighted they're making their Late Late Show debut tonight to give me free top-ups and help us all freebase us. Gaeilge, would you please give a big falchero to Siobhan Ní Rourke, Darren Ní Ghlacoin and Louise Cantillon. Falchero, welcome to the Late Late Show. All good. We're all good. We're excited to have you tonight. And obviously, you guys are excited to be on. You're excited to have Siobhan back on the team sheet after the little baby.
Yes.
How old?
She's 5 weeks old now.
Fantastic. Is she watching tonight? Want to give her a shout out?
Yes! Hi, baby. I'm just Daddy. Hope he's nailing it with the bottle tonight. Good luck to him. Fair play to him.
Brilliant. So, look, tell us a little bit about the podcast, Louise. Tell us, it's language, but it's other things.
That's it. It's all of the above. Do you know what? It's been such a joy, first and foremost, to get to this point with How to Gael. This all started in my little small apartment in Dublin, and it grew to what it has become. And we're just home from a tour. We were gigging in Paris. We're going to London tomorrow morning, Patrick.
Would you believe? 6:30.
Yeah.
We knackered on the flight.
That's it. So what started as a small,
Darren, I mean, it push on through.
But you know what? No better women. We're well able to drive it on.
Try and stop them, Paddy. Try and stop them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's true, but I guess what How to Gael is all about is, you know, it's a gateway drug into the Irish language. That's how we like to describe it.
Are you tempted?
I am.
It's a good place to start.
We could do it a guest, you know, for our Dublin show coming up, actually, Patrick. So be careful now. We might enlist you.
This is good. I thought you were coming on for a chat, not for a booking. This is
It's always
tit for
business.
tat. You come on your show, you come on ours.
I can see where this is going. I mean, because I mean, you occasionally get yourselves into trouble talking about. I mean, you're happy to talk about politics, sex, butter.
Yes. Okay. So I'll answer this one. Okay.
Yes.
This was probably our most controversial story I ever told, and it almost broke up the pod. Okay. So it actually was the first video we put online from the podcast that went absolutely viral. And basically, the girls were asking me, it's riveting stuff sometimes, Patrick. They're asking me what butter I buy in my weekly shop, right?
Yes.
And I made the mistake of saying that I occasionally buy Flora. Mortal sin. I forgot that a national treasure is Kerry Gold.
Yeah.
And the girls absolutely lambasted me for it, right? And we put it out for the world to see. And everyone was on the girls' side, okay? I have not bought Flora since, I can say confidently. Okay. But this went so viral, right? It really did, like, go to far-flung corners of the world. I went on a holiday to Sicily, right? A bit of a mini-moon. And we met another married couple who were there. They were American. They were from New York, very bougie. And we exchanged Instagrams. And the next day, the American guy wrote to me and he was like, sorry, I actually follow your podcast already from the Kerry Gold video. So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and come here. Do you know the Irish for butter?
Im,
exactly. Do you know what we are now? Influencers.
Influencers, there you go. Okay.
She's already making mom jokes. 5 weeks in.
That's an M joke. That's an M joke for everybody there. Yeah. So Darren, I mean, when you look at the show, you know, you guys put it together. You're now on the road. You're big in London. You're going to Canada, big in Canada as well, I believe.
Big in Canada. There you go. We went on our Northern American tour last year. Would you believe? I tell you, Patrick, you can go nowhere, right?
Yeah.
In we land into Vancouver. Very delighted with ourselves. Who would have thought a bilingual podcast would get us over to Vancouver to do a gig? We went to Boston, New York. We sat down. We were going for the mimosas. We were really treating ourselves. Morning number one. And chatting away to each other, us Gaeilge. I thought I'd be the only Darren in Vancouver. I wasn't. Our waitress was a girl called Darren. She heard us speaking Irish. She started taking our orders as Gaeilge. She was from the Gaeltacht herself. And we invited her along to the show. She never came. But But there you go. You can go nowhere. Imagine that, like just a random brunch spot in Vancouver and we have Gaeilge there serving us. So it's great.
But you see, this is what it's about. I mean, you know, the language is growing, the language is out there. I mean, this must be this holiday that we're going into here, Louise. Is this like Christmas for you guys?
Flád Patrick.
Yeah.
Sure, we love a bit of St. Patrick's Day, yeah. I mean, I get great joy, Patrick, about because I'm the culture, I'm the token culture on the podcast.
So you're the person that potentially
dogs.
was on at the back of a tractor on a flatbed
For the owl parades.
trailer.
Yeah, that's it. Now, I wasn't an Irish dancer in my day, but I do have a story. My St. Patrick's Day story is actually, for anyone familiar with the west of Limerick, there's a village called Foynes, if you're into flying boats.
Yes.
That's where they hang out. Anyway, I tell you, the notions we had in West Limerick, right, in the late 90s, I was part of a gymnastics club, and I was given the challenge of cartwheeling the length of Foynes village, right, for the St. Patrick's Day parade. And if I'm anything, I'm committed to the cause, right? So I cartwheeled 2.5 kilometres, and it was one of those balmy St. Patrick's Days, you know, like the ones you go to the parade with the sun cream on. And anyway, if I did, I landed at the other side of the village, and my hands were black and blue, cut, bleeding, and covered in tar. But you know what? Did I cartwheel non-stop for 2 kilometres or son the Cusha?
You see?
Yeah.
You got to do it.
You're a great patriot.
You got to suffer for it.
That's it, yeah.
I mean, there's a cultural revival, of course, in the language. It hasn't made it to France yet, I believe. Does anybody want to tell us?
Well, we've a few sneaky stories from Paris 2 weeks ago. Louise, I suppose you're the culprit, so you better admit up to this one. What do you think?
I don't know if we're the culprit, but we landed in Paris, Patrick, and we were a Gaeilge Gaeilge, as we always do. We're probably known for being loud, but not any louder than, do you know what I mean? We talk for a living, so to be fair, like, if we're good at anything, it should be that. And from the minute we got off the plane, we started getting shushed. You know, in the French culture, I suppose they didn't, if you're going for a coffee, if you're going for a glass of wine, it was shh, shh. Yeah. So it started as a small shush. And me and Darren, I think, took it upon ourselves to feel highly insulted at the amount of shushes we were getting. So anyway, the morning of our gig in Paris, we went to get our hair done in hairdressers, and it was like we were bad children in school. They moved us, right? So we went in, they moved us from sitting beside one another because we were talking too loud, but we kind of continued to talk, you know, as you would in a hairdressers, to the point that they had to move us to either side of the salon. And eventually, imagine, like, to completely, because we were a Gaeilge Gaeilge, so I don't know if they were there for our chats, but definitely there's a little Gaeltacht happening in the Latin Quarter of Paris. We sold out a show to 150 people, and I think we'd one of the best nights we've had in a long time there.
There you go. We were thrown out of every pub in Paris.
That happened too.
This is the part she's not telling you. Louise loves to sing song and demanded that the French shush for a few songs.
Well, if it was only fair if they were going to shush us.
The truth is now coming out. We're not getting the proper...
She's very shy.
Yeah.
Not one establishment, 2 establishments. We ended up for a finish, we said we'd go for a late night drink, and there was all these kind of... we were in a shisha bar.
A shisha
bar. Shush bar.
Yeah.
And they had rap music going in every corner, and Louise is there in the corner trying to get Christy Moore on the telly. Can we get Ride On Jimmy going here now, please, for a late drink? But
we were in the middle of the 100 greatest countdowns of songs on Today FM. It was on my brain, you know.
Now, on Fail to Sister Rock, can I just say this would not have happened if I wasn't on maternity leave?
I understand this. I do understand this.
I'm distancing myself from this.
Shiva, you've had a lot of great guests on the pod. Who would the favourite be?
Yes, lots of Ian, on especially as we've had some amazing guests in the pod. I would say one of the highlights for me was we had Catherine Connolly on in the lead up to the election, and that was great just to get some FaceTime with the now President of Ireland. We had a great chat with her. Catherine has a scale really special to Gaeilge, a really special story about the language that she went back 20 years ago and decided to relearn the language, which I think shows that, you know, it doesn't matter what your experience or your relationship with the language was ever or has ever been, you can always form a new relationship with it and pick it up from scratch at any time, and not to let anything from the past impact how you see the language, because she's just a gorgeous, living, breathing, gorgeous, vibrant language. But anyway, Catherine was... she had to answer a few of our questions, didn't she? No, we got some really special tidbits out of her. We got her drink order. It's a gin and tonic, okay? She's never had a drop of vodka, our president, right? And she's a Scorpio.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, it wasn't heavily edited, but it was slightly edited, this podcast, okay? We did have to take out the 3 times she asked us, was it nearly over?
At least she didn't shush us.
No, she didn't shush us. No, I'm sure she had a very important, you know, televised debate to go to, but we had just such important questions to ask her, like her star sign, you know? Now, Darren was gallivanting in New York, so it mightn't have happened now if Darren was there keeping a rein on things, but there you go.
So you're talking there about the past, the present, the future, all of these things with the President. I believe you've got a United Ireland special coming up, Darren.
Yeah, we have a 6-part series that is starting on Thursday, and it's engaging, I suppose, with that question, how how to unite Ireland. Is it something that we should be working towards? So as we're part of this, conversation around a cultural revival, and we hear actually that the most likely people to engage with the Irish language and relearn are women and people who are under 35 years of age. So it's no coincidence that these are also people who, are part of the generation that'll never be able to afford to buy a house, part of the generation that are really feeling the burn from the cost of living crisis, women who are faced with the astronomical childcare prices that we have in Ireland. And by engaging with the language, people are engaging with, a want for another kind of a life here in Ireland. For the first time, we're looking inwards in our culture as opposed to looking outwards for our cultural cues. And there's a real conversation happening, thanks to Catherine Connolly and the presidential debate as of late about the question of United Ireland. And we've been doing a lot of research on this. We've been working on this for the last 6 months. We've been engaging with a lot of publications that have been put out recently, like the great BBC series, The Borderland, which spoke to people on both sides of the divide.
And I know you're talking to unionists as well.
We are, of
course. Do you think the
yeah.
language has a part in their future?
Oh, totally. I mean, this is no, wrap the green flag round me, boy. We want the fourth green field. We want to work towards what Mary McAlee said, on this programme in 2021. She spoke about building a new house and the joy that you get when you live in a house that you've built yourself, from the ground up. And what an amazing opportunity for Ireland to think that we could maybe form a new state that's inclusive for everybody and that, looks at these social issues that our generation are really, really suffering with, and that we meet our listeners and we know that these are the things that really grate on them. So I think it's a really important conversation that we need to be having down south. What does that entail? I think there's a huge romantic notion of things, and, we need to open our eyes a lot. So hopefully over the next 6 weeks we'll have really engaging conversations about the whole thing. So you'll have to tune in to learn more.
We'll definitely be tuning into that. Guys, thank you so much. You can catch How to Gael live. You're going to be doing this live if anybody wants to catch them. Cork Opera House, March the 28th. Pigs Lane in Kilkenny, April the 18th, and the Ambassador in Dublin, October the 8th. More details on howtogael.com. Let's hear it one more time for Shiva, Darren and Louise. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.